Welcome to the Honeymoon Mindset podcast, discussing topics to give you tips and tools so you can choose to live your relationship with a honeymoon mindset. Here are your honeymoon mindset experts, James and Beth. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Honeymoon Mindset. I hope everyone's doing well. I am doing well myself. Thank you. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit touchy subject. It's not going to get graphic. We're going to be talking about intimacy, sex. Sometimes I hear, and I've read a lot of statistics and stats online about relationships that talk about we have nothing in common. We don't connect anymore. I don't agree with that. That's a choice. That's a decision to connect anymore. Why'd you stop connecting? Well, we don't do anything in bed, or the intimacy isn't there. There's no connection. Well, again, that's a choice. And I know for guys, there's no sex. Sex isn't this. Sex isn't that. No, that's a choice. So we're going to talk about intimacy. How does that affect a relationship? It's important to intimacy. And I want to say there's two forms of intimacy. There's the emotional, and then there's the physical. We all talk about the physical. Hookups and the one-night stands. Yeah, that's not going to last. The media, movies, TV, social media messes up what intimacy and sex is all about. They say sex, you can just have it and you're done. Sex can build a relationship. Sex can do this. If you're not dating and having sex, you can't have a relationship. That's bull. I'm telling you now, that's bull. Yeah, you can start a relationship on sex, but it's not going to last in the long run. It will not last. It can't. You have no connection. And if your relationship is built on that, of course you don't connect. That's why. You're missing the more important part. There's two parts to intimacy. There's the physical, and then there's the emotional. And when you have both of those, you're going to have a honeymoon mindset for the rest of your life. Holy cow, let me tell you. Yes, early on in your relationship, the physical takes over. But that's a decision to connect emotionally. Now, for me and Beth, our relationship, we took the 5-language test. For me, I had 2 out of the 5 that score pretty much even. The 2 is physical touch and affirmations. I need to be affirmed. I need to know that I'm okay. I need to hear positive things. I need to be acknowledged. And I know that. And after learning that and I look back, yes, that's true. And same with physical touch. I need that as well. But when I think of that, and I read up more on that with Gary Chapman and how he did physical touch, I think there's also different levels of physical touch. Physical touch can be hand holding, pat on the back, walking hand in hand, kissing, caressing. And then, yes, there's intimacy, there's sex. For me, I need a combination of all of it for my physical touch, for my love language. So that's what also spurred my research looking into this. I've looked at marriage.com, Psychology Today, a couple other, bustle.com. As I was looking at all this, interesting. And I agree. But there is two. There's your emotional intimacy and physical intimacy. Yes, guys, we have a higher intimacy. Beth, on that matter, she has a lower libido, sex drive. I have a higher sex drive. How do we make that work? We compromise. We talk about it. Communication is key. And this is where the emotional intimacy comes in. We have a very strong emotional intimacy. Stronger than our physical. Because now, I would say if we base it totally off of the physical intimacy, no, we wouldn't have a relationship. Our relationship is not based on sex, and we both agree with that. We are so emotionally committed and intimate with each other. That is what holds us together. That is our bind, and that is what drives one thing that drives our honeymoon mindset. And that's the other reason why I can say when we get into a really bad argument where we're not talking, or I get irritated, there's times where I'll irritated and I don't have to talk to anybody for 2 days. And Beth can be the same way. But I know for a fact, as I'm going through that, nope. I just want to get this over with. I just want this done. I want my wife back. I hate this. But right now, I'm not in a place to figure it out right now. Beth isn't in a spot to figure it out right now. And vice versa. I give her space. She gives me space. We do things here and there to see if each of us are ready or at a point where we can talk. Nope. We keep testing the waters, and finally it's like, okay, let's have this out. Let's figure it out. That's that emotional intimacy. How do you get that emotional intimacy? Well, we communicate, and we're vulnerable and honest. And through those two, we build that trust. Those three to create that emotional intimacy. And when you have that, that helps fuel the passionate, the physical intimacy, sex. So if one of you in a relationship has a stronger sex drive than the other, you need to talk about it. Be vulnerable. Talk about what's okay and what's not okay. How often, how frequent. Yes, my wife says, hey, do you want a quickie? She's like, I know you have a higher sex drive, and I also know it's your love language. But also to me, I need more of that emotional intimacy for the physical to work. But yes, I do need the quick sex too. When one of your partners is like that, that's Beth meeting my emotional intimacy needs and my physical needs and my love language for the physical touch, because we've talked about it. We made the choice to connect. We made the choice to love each other no matter what. And there's times I'll say, nope, I'm good. There's a lot of times I'll say no, because sometimes I want more than that, but I also know it's late at night, she's tired, or even during the day when she's busy at work. Even though she works from home, I work from home, obviously. And I have fantasies. She doesn't have much fantasies. I don't want to bog her down. I don't want her to affect her. That's me respecting my wife, my partner. That's me respecting her as an individual. Her sex drive. Her, and that's keeping us connected emotionally without making each other feel like we're not meeting each other's needs. So when they say, no, we don't connect, there's nothing more in bed, why are you basing it on bed? For sex to be really, really great in bed in a really committed relationship, you have to have that emotional intimacy. And when you connect there, oh my God, sex is beyond, it's just out of this world. You connect, you're hitting all the right spots, you're making that connection, that physical connection, that emotional connection. One report I read said once you have that emotional connection and you connect emotionally, especially for women, and I know it's for guys too, because I experience it, I can't tell you or describe the feeling, the sensations, the emotions that are there. You need to connect. You need to build that emotional. Yes, there are times where the emotional intimacy is a lot stronger, more prevalent than the physical intimacy. That's normal. That's natural. Like after you have kids, women can't have intercourse for at least 6 to 8 weeks after giving birth. They have to heal. Plus, when they go through postpartum depression, which is a real thing, people. It's real. I've seen and experienced it. And there's times when life just gets so hectic and busy, especially when you get teenagers and kids and junior high. Life gets crazy. The physical intimacy goes down. You got to have that emotional intimacy. You got to make time for it. And when you do, sex doesn't matter. Yeah, there's times where Beth and I will go a month or so without sex, but I'm still just connected to her, if not more so. Because we don't base our life, our marriage, our relationship on sex. We base it off of that emotional intimacy, meeting each other's needs, being vulnerable, talking, and making that daily choice. That is what creates the honeymoon mindset. It's not always about the sex. And that's one thing a lot of people say, oh, when the kids show up, the honeymoon phase is over. Oh, the first fight, the honeymoon phase is over. No, that's a bunch of bull. That's a bunch of garbage. That's why we created the honeymoon mindset. Because it is something that goes on for years and years and years until you're old and gray and longer. It's a choice. It's building that emotional intimacy. Yeah, like I said, yeah, early on in your relationship, yeah, you're going to have a lot of intercourse. You're going to have a lot of sex. That's normal. That's natural. That's opening up, making yourself vulnerable to that emotional intimacy. Yeah, that starts in dating and stuff. You learn about each other, connecting that way, things you like, don't like about the personalities, interest, hobbies, la-di-la-di-la. But eventually, that turns into emotional intimacy. When you guys do get into a committed relationship, married, you and your partner will connect. You and your partner will start to discover religion, politics, kids, jobs, work, tensions, likes and dislikes as they grow together, and some will grow apart. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have that emotional and physical intimacy going and realize that, okay, this is just a downtime for the physical intimacy, that's okay. We'll work on the emotional. Okay, yep, things are going on. Things aren't going the way we want. Yeah, the physical intimacy has to take a back seat. But just because it's not happening doesn't mean it's not there. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, let's just get it done and over with. Let's just have sex, get it done and over with. Yeah, there are going to be those times. You got to have those times because it helps stays connected. But that's where you got to build that emotional, communicate, being open, being vulnerable, listening to each other. That's where you got to really listen with your heart. We say a lot of times on Mondays with Honeymoon Mindset with kids, you got to listen with your heart. Open your heart. Oh, my partner, he's so cold. No, doesn't. Guys, I'm a guy. This is notorious for guys for some reason. It's okay to have a heart. Society has messed us up big time by saying guys can't have a heart. That's a bunch of bull. Guys, we can be big, soft teddy bears. And when you're in a committed relationship, you need to have a big, soft heart. One way, shape, or form. And you need to talk to your partner and tell them, this is how I communicate. This is how I respond. And you need to say that to your partner. Otherwise, yeah, he doesn't cold, he's hard. You need to show it. Show up, step up to the plate. Create that honeymoon mindset for your partner. The partners of people like that, you need to be understanding too. You need to hear what they're saying. Realize that they are different than you, and that's normal and that's okay. You need to ask them questions. You need to understand and you need to be okay with it. You chose this relationship with this person. So now how are you going to adjust yourself a little? Now, I'm not saying change who you are, but you need to adjust how you are to meet that need so you'll get the needs you need met. And are you communicating your needs? That's that emotional intimacy, being vulnerable, opening yourself up, and letting your partner see who you really are. Life goes both ways, emotional and intimacy. And as kids start to get a house, yeah, the intimacy usually comes back, or sometimes in there. And if you're able to keep both of it, that's amazing. Intimacy, sex, you got to have both. And if one isn't there, then you got to figure out how to work it. We have a podcast on Fridays. It's about date nights, date tips for couples and families. Check out the one about connecting intimately with your partner. the date tip. Listen to that one. Do that one. On Fridays, you can listen to all those. They're just 5 minutes, maybe long. Nothing real bit long. But to help give you tips on how to build that intimacy. Build that honeymoon mindset. Whether you have kids or not. A lot of the ones that you can do with kids, you can do with you and your partner. And vice versa. Connect emotionally. And if you're young in your relationship or newlyweds, that's fine. That's wonderful. Yes, your physical intimacy is strong. It's high. You're attracted to your bride, your partner. But you got to start connecting emotionally. You have to start opening up mentally or emotionally. Being vulnerable, communicating. And when you do that, that's going to feel the physical intimacy, which is going to feel the emotional. And when you have those two connections, you're going to have a honeymoon mindset. Connect emotionally and connect physically. But also remember, they go in waves at times too. Because of life. Because of, life is the best way I can describe it. Don't listen to society. Listen to your partner. Listen to each other. That's how you build. And connect every single day. Make that choice. And be emotional with them. And physical with them some way. Physical, like I said earlier, does not always have to be sex. Hold their hand. Wrap your arm around your partner. Give them a hug. Or come up behind them. And that's what I did right before I came up here to do this. I went up to Beth and said, thank you for loving me. Be grateful for them. Show them your love and your gratitude for them. And I gave her a quick little kiss on the head. Touch them. Comment on their bodies. And that's part of physical touch. And that's part of it, affirmations too. Like we talked about, 5 languages. They're all all 5 are interconnected in some way, shape, or form. But when you're doing that, you're connecting emotionally. And you're connecting physically. And you're building that honeymoon mindset. So, communicate. Be vulnerable, open, honest, which is going to build that trust and security in each other. And when you do that, you're going to be more open and vulnerable. Through that communication, which is going to build that emotional intimacy, which is going to help fuel the physical intimacy. And when you get that physical intimacy going, remember I said there's 2 levels of it. There's the touch and then there's intercourse or there's sex. You got to do both of those. There's 2 parts to it. And when you get that going, you're going to feel the emotional intimacy. It takes both. I want you to have a honeymoon mindset. I want you to be open and honest with each other. Touch each other. Caress each other, especially in front of your kids. They need to see that too. Mature, proper touch, romance, and you will have, I guarantee, you will have a honeymoon mindset that will last beyond the honeymoon phase. Guaranteed. And throughout any argument, fight that you may have as a couple. Because when you get that emotional intimacy and that physical intimacy there, because I'll tell you, there's times when Beth and I get in though, I actually start to miss and long to have Beth touch me, to be with Beth. But it's also because I have that emotional intimacy there that's strong, which is feeling that drive for that. It's weird, I know, but it happens because you have that emotional intimacy there. I challenge you guys, I challenge you listeners to this podcast, have that emotional intimacy and the physical intimacy. They go hand in hand. And you will have a honeymoon mindset no matter what. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time on Honeymoon Mindset.